everybody. It's Kim Karen at Karen Gallery again, and welcome to our live bi-weekly or twice a week interviews of our artists that we have. And this is probably our fifth or sixth week that we've been doing it. We moved to 2 a week, and we wanted to be able to make sure we got everybody in. And so now that we're open back up, and so we're doing 2 a week. So anyway, Christie Farese is our artist today that we're going to be talking to. So as we have Instagram send out feeds that we're gone live, I will add her to our Insta story or live interview today. So I'm sorry, I keep looking down waiting for her to show up on the feed. So sometimes it takes a few minutes. She is out of town, so there she is. Oh, there she is. Let's see if we add her in here. Let's see. Let's see if that works, Christy. Just need to respond to my request. Oh, we're connecting. Oh,
hey.
There she is. Hey.
Hi.
Oh, everyone's going to be jealous when they see your background.
Well, I'm very happy right now, I will tell you.
Well, I think everybody has been wanting to get out and get away because they've been cooped up for 6 to 8 weeks. So I know that you were loving to be away and at the beach. So that's awesome.
Yes, I am. My daughter at the last minute said, "Can we please go to the beach this week?" And I had this interview, and I was like, you know what? Yes, we're going to go. We
can anywhere. It doesn't matter.
That's right. Exactly.
Well, you're looking good today. You can tell that it's making you feel better. So that's awesome.
I feel so good. And look, I'm doing this myself. So I've got my child teenager was going to help me, but she wants to go to the beach. I said, fine, I'm just going to do it myself. So it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that I am, I've been asking everybody to do these live interviews, and then I'm asking them to do the studio tour, which I'll post yours later today. And my son is employed as a videographer. And I'm like, okay, I need to do a gallery tour so I can post. I've asked y'all, so I'm going to do it myself. So I'm like, so Josh, can you help me do this? And he's like, I don't have time for that. And I'm just like, but it would be so much better. So I'm going to do it myself too. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was the one request I had. So if we go to the beach, you have to help me with this live. Can you just stand and film me? It'll be 30 minutes. Absolutely. Of course I'll help you. And then.
She's bolted.
Yeah. But I wouldn't want to help my mom either when I was 15 years old. So
yeah, it's just how it is. And I see that you got your palette, your easel set up. And
yeah. So this is my plein air easel that I've had for a while now, and it's on its last leg, but it's been with me to California and everywhere. So that's what I use. And then I've got all my paints out here too. Just working on different things. So.
Yeah. Good. Maybe that'll be relaxing for you.
Yeah.
So I was going to tell people behind me is your artwork, and if I can lean it a little bit so they can see what's above as well. Yeah, well, I still just see the skirt. Anyway, so I've got your artwork sitting out. These are some new pieces right here that we have, and I really like this one, so I'm gonna have to take it home.
Yes, please do.
Oh, I love it. So it's kind of fun. We had the black and white with the white paper with the black ink for a while now, and then you sent me those pictures of the new work, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. So I'm glad to get the new stuff. So that's great.
Good.
All right, so let's start with our questions and let you. I think you've probably seen some of these, so you might have an idea, but it's different when someone asks you instead of someone else. So here we go. So how did you become an artist? Tell us your personal journey as an artist.
Okay, so I would say that I did not grow up doing art at all. I never took art in high school, college, anything. And in college, I just really developed a love for art. I started buying art, collecting art, loved going to museums, things like that. So, like, I remember the first double-decker and just walking around and just thinking, oh, this art is so amazing. And I loved emerging artists and kind of seeing what people were doing. And then it was not until I had my 2 girls, they were little, like 2 and 3, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just had a friend that painted and started taking art lessons just to have something to do, and it just blossomed. My teacher was Julie McCartney from Madison, and she had studied with Camille Priswatic, who is an artist in California. She's a colorist. She studied under Henry Hinchy, who is where Sammy Britt studied forever and ever. And so I went out to California, studied with Camille, and then I just kind of threw myself into workshops and just going and learning as much as I could. And it's just turned into this 12 years later. So
yeah, blink your eye, and it kind of, kids grow and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been painting this long. So
yeah.
Before I go any further, I want to make sure people know if they want to ask any questions, just put it in the comment line, and then I'll go back to that at the end. And instead of trying to catch them as they go, so just wanted to let y'all know you can ask some questions. Okay, so you didn't take any art. You weren't art. You were in college then.
No, not at all. I wish I had, but at the same time, I will say I kind of am glad I didn't, because I love the way that I've learned to paint, which is in this colorist tradition and in the tradition of Henry Hinchy. And I know when I started taking from Julie, she said, oh, this is so nice. I don't have to, get you out of your bad habits. So,
yeah, that's true. I've heard other people say the same thing when they've done workshops, that they don't, the difference on those who before and after, those who did and those who didn't go to major in art in school. Okay, so the next question is, what is your primary medium? Because I know that what we have here. So share with people what you typically, of course, we kind of have an example of several things that you do, but what's your primary and kind of maybe where you're going next?
Well, definitely oils is my primary medium. That's what I've always done. And it was funny because when you reached out to me, it was from Instagram, and I had been playing around with the Sumi ink and watercolor, which I've never had a watercolor lesson. It's just something I was experimenting with. So, but oils is definitely my main medium. But I love that black Sumi ink, which is in the one above you. Yeah, it's a Japanese ink, and it's just really got a nice fluidity. I just love playing with that. But yeah, oils definitely is my main thing.
Okay, so now when we were chatting by text message, I think either last night or this morning, I've been so tired this week, I don't know what day it is.
You've been a busy lady.
I've been a little busy. I was on the road all day today, which is good. I have been in this place for 6 weeks, and so we opened that door and I'm just like, yay, everyone's here. And then I've been back on the road, but that's good, meeting with customers and stuff. But tell us about the new pieces that I got. So these 4 pieces here, and then I've got a few others over there that I've set aside. I'm going to photograph that. I'm going to get all this photographed, and we're writing on the website. Maybe tomorrow, it might be Monday, but we're working to get things photographed. Everybody's sending us stuff, so it's been good.
Yeah, very good.
What about these pieces right here, the little different kind of medium that you were using?
Yeah, so the faces, I started out doing the black and white faces, and those actually were inspired. I took a trip to Chicago several years ago, and there was a Henry Matisse exhibit at the Art Institute. So I went to that and bought the big coffee table book. And, it's funny how inspiration just hits, and you just, as an artist, for me anyway, never know when it's going to come, and sometimes it doesn't come, but so I started playing around with those faces, didn't think anybody would like it, just really doing them for myself. And then people do like the faces, they gravitate to them, but they've always been black and white. The color just came during this quarantine. One thing that's been great is all of these artists during the quarantine have been online and just doing art lessons and tutorials and just live videos. And so I've been taking a lot of that in, and I started playing around with these acrylics that I had sitting, because I don't paint with acrylics, but I don't know, it just sort of happened, and I love the way they turned out.
Well, because you said it's acrylic and graphite.
Yeah, graphite pencil. So I do, I lay the acrylic down and then I paint on top, kind of the facial features, and then I get that pencil and put in some marks. So yeah, acrylic and graphite.
Yeah, well, I love them. Like I said, I really, I gotta have that one right there.
Well, hey, I would be honored to have something in your home.
Well, yeah, figures is my favorite, and I think sometimes people really have a hard time. They feel like if they have a figure, it needs to be a portrait of somebody they know. And to
Right.
me, I like figures because it just shows so many different kind of people. You can imagine somebody you might know in this,
Yeah,
or you can or several people in that, or
exactly.
just, sometimes they give you a peaceful look, sometimes it's pensive, sometimes it's just questioning. I mean, figures, I really didn't realize how many I had until I moved the last time, and it,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, where did all this come from?
Yes.
Love them, and that's just something I really am drawn. I don't know what it is, but
That,
I don't have that many people that do figures, and I really try to get customers to kind of, because they're a little hesitant, and I'm trying to get them to step outside the box and really taking a little adventure with it. Once they get the first figure and get kind of comfortable with it, that it's not someone they know, then they want others.
yeah, and I think it adds dimension to your art
Oh,
collection. You know,
yeah,
if you have 100 landscapes in your house, I mean, they're beautiful, but it's nice to add that.
yeah. Oh, that's exactly it. I try to encourage people to have abstracts, try to do more mixed media, just really mix it up because it just makes your house lots of layers to
Or
it.
like, yeah,
And it shows your character when you
right.
have those different varieties. All right. So, what is your favorite imagery or subject matter?
Definitely the figure for sure. And I paint so many kids on the beach, and that really is my favorite thing to paint. And I talked about it in my studio tour, and I'm glad you had us do that because it made me talk about why I paint certain things. And but I think that I love painting kids on the beach because it just captures a gesture, and it's so funny because I don't do faces yet. I'm working on that, but I captured them from behind or like playing in the sand, and the parents immediately, I mean, even friends of those parents are like, oh, that's so and so. I mean, you can just tell from the way they're holding the bucket or the way their stance is. So, yeah, that's what I love to do, the figure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's my fave. Okay, so what's it like? You'll love this question. What's it like trying to paint with family distractions?
Oh, yeah. I think you and I have had several conversations about this.
Hard.
It's hard. Yeah. Well, my kids are teenagers, so but yeah, and my studio's at my house, so I'm like, oh, I need to go get those clothes out of the dryer, and I have one that's sort of homeschool, so she's always there and making sure she's doing what she's supposed to do. So I've had to, just work on getting structured and
Yeah,
creating blocks of time to go do that.
yeah, yeah. It's hard. I think there's also stages in life that you can focus more
Mm,
on your paint career than others. I mean, like I used to
yes.
think that when they were little bitty, that was the hard phase, and really, if they take naps and all that kind of stuff, you can kind of really dictate what they're doing, and you can do your
Yeah.
stuff. And then once they get mobile, and then they get to be teenage years, that's a tough time because
Yeah.
a blink of an eye, they're going to be out of the house anyway. So,
That's right. And I'm trying to enjoy it and not wish it away, because there's so many things I want to do that I can't do right now, but I'm trying to soak up these last couple of years with
yeah,
them.
it'll be worth it. It's
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lots of time. Hey, they say we're supposed to live to like 90 or 100. So,
Yeah. Oh, plenty of time.
okay. So, my question, this is going to be I want to see how you respond to that, is why do you paint and why are you not doing something else now?
Well, I would say I paint because I took it up when I had quit my real job to stay home with my kids. So it's something I can do anywhere, just like here. And that's the fun thing about going on vacations is, you know, I took a little travel sketch class with a friend of mine that's an artist, Beth Dean, and you know, you can just do it anywhere. So, I mean, that's definitely why I do that. And now that I've become an artist, and I was painting on the beach yesterday, and this sweet couple came up and they were looking at what I was painting, and he said, well, I mean, are you an amateur or are you a pro? I was like, oh, I'm a pro, you know. And it felt so good to say that. Like, I finally feel like, you know, I'm a real artist, because like I said, I didn't learn all this stuff in college. I don't have an art degree, but yeah, I mean, I love doing this. I can't see myself doing anything else.
Well, I'll just say, when we interviewed Gary Walters on Tuesday, and he said, you know, he didn't talk much about his education, like college and all that kind of stuff. He said the best training you get is behind the easel and behind the brush. And I thought that was really good. And that's what I try to encourage, like these young artists who say they're in school and they want to join the gallery. I was like, well, you know, really don't take kids. I take people that are over 21 and all. I said, but the biggest thing you can do for yourself is just to paint and work at it. And you've done that, and that's awesome.
That's good advice. And that's Henry Hinchy in his little book. He says, you know, a good artist has miles and miles of canvas behind them. You know, bad paintings. I mean,
Right. And even Gary, I mean, because Gary says, I mean, he paints a lot, and he's been around, done double decker for years, and done all this stuff, and he sells a lot. But he's like, I've got a lot of bad pieces in my studio too, you know. So everyone does. And I think sometimes people think when they see someone who's established, they think that, oh, they don't make mistakes. So, well, that's really where you make your, that's when you learn.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go here to the questions and see if there's anything. I know I saw a couple of them, so I'm going to go back to the top and start over and see what I see here. So Kate Taylor, hello. And so did Brush Studio Art. Oh, Brush Studio Art said, you're in my happy place.
She's somebody I've connected with through Instagram. We message all the time. I don't even know where she lives. Maybe Kentucky. But that's what I love about Instagram too.
Yeah. And as I lean over, y'all, just ignore my gray hair. I hopefully will have beauty shops open. Beauty shops open up. Let's see. LLB 1947 said hello. And let's see. I know there's a question. Okay. What was your inspiration for the faces? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, Henry Matisse's, that exhibit. Yeah,
I saw that exhibit too. It's so good.
Yes.
Okay, Here You Go Studio said, how much time do you spend on the business of art versus actually painting?
That's a great question. Definitely not as much time painting, but mine is kind of an accidental business, I would say. I mean, I started getting asked to do commissions, and you know, it kind of just grew into a business. But I don't, you know, I just have a new little website. I don't spend a lot of time on that. Mainly, I don't spend much time on the business side of it at all. Yeah,
it's all right. Let's see. Any tips for taking a good picture for you to paint?
Yes. And I want to do a PDF on this and put it on my website. But lots of light and shadow is what I look for. And try to take the picture either in the morning or in the afternoon when the sun is in the east or in the west. If the sun is directly overhead, you don't have a lot of shadow. So definitely when it's sunny, but not too terribly sunny. But really, I mean, any picture will do, but it's better to have some light and shadow.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, love faces, want to do faces, afraid other artists will think I'm copying. You know, give your input on that.
Well, I'm kind of torn on it because I think there's a fine line between copying and between drawing inspiration from somebody else. And, you know, there's a lot of people doing faces right now, but Paul Klee, Klee, is another artist who has done faces in the past, like Henry Matisse. And so nobody living right now was the first person to paint faces like I'm painting, or a lot of other people. And but if you're painting something and you're looking at another artist painting, that's copying. But I think there's a fine line. I think you should just draw inspiration.
Yeah.
I think in your heart, you know if you're copying or not. So if you're not copying, don't worry about it. Do your
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what, you know, I had an artist, one of our artists had an incident last week that she had done some things, and it was very, very obvious that another person had copied. And so I think for a day or two, they kind of, she and her husband were trying to decide kind of how to handle that. And they ended up reaching out to that person and just said, you know, we feel like this is what's happened. Mm-hmm. And they were very, you know, understanding, and they totally got what she was saying, and they realized kind of what had happened. Because, you know, when you're on Instagram, social media, you can find that really fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Your friends and your followers will see, and they'll tell you. I mean, they will. So you have to be very careful. And if you do feel like you're copying, that's your sign. And you've got that inside you a little bit, you know, kind of, it's telling you that's kind of what's going on. But and like you said, you were inspired by Matisse, and you figured out a way that you wanted to do some things that he inspired you to do, and you had to find your own path. And that's where I think maybe a sketchbook can help someone to like working on some faces. And even if they initially mimic you, when they might initially mimic you, but they don't have to post it yet. That's how they can maybe practice.
Exactly.
And trying to find their avenue of creating it differently.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say when I paint kids on the beach, you know, I've taken workshops from, like, Gina Brown is somebody that I've taken, and Nancy Frank, workshops from. They're an amazing artists. And, you know, I've painted with them a good bit. Am I drawing inspiration from what they do? I'm sure I am, you know, just by osmosis.
Right.
You know, so,
yeah.
And
that's the other thing, is that you talk about doing the workshops and having some books to reference. Mm-hmm. So you don't just have one person that you're thinking that you want to do something, that you have that variety, and you can take different elements that you like from it and incorporate it into your own work. And then there's where the difference is going to be.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's my knowledge for today.
I love it. That's good.
Anyway, you know, it's funny. I have a business degree, and I've been doing this 10 years this year. And I feel like I'm learning so much. And sometimes I'm thinking, sometimes I may not need to say, because I don't have the art school or even any kind of, I mean, I'm not an artist, but I love art, and I've heard so much from y'all, and I'm hoping that what I'm learning from y'all and hearing from y'all, from all these different artists, and we've got about 40 artists that are here, that I can share everyone's story, and someone else can learn from their story. And that's why we did these interviews.
I'm so glad you're doing this, and I will say that your business degree has helped me a lot, just because the times that I've had creative blocks and I've talked to you about it, I'm just you know, and you just are like, well, use that to paint, and use that, you know, whatever sadness you're feeling right now or stress, you know, put it in your, you know, so things like that. You're practical. Your left brain has helped my right brain.
Yes, children always say, do I have to learn a lesson on everything that happens in life? I'm like, yeah, this is a lesson. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like, you know, I've told a lot of the artists, you know, during this time that we've sheltered in place, is that this is an opportunity that you don't have an excuse that you don't have time, or that, you know, whatever, this is an opportunity. And it was a message to me, said, I have found this new color and this new thing. I want to send it to you. And you sent me that sample, and I was like, so exciting, because it's, sometimes we, and I had this conversation with another artist too. We think this is going to be such a bad time, but this really helps us kind of dig into ourselves and find some good things.
Yeah.
All bad.
I think so. It took me longer than I would have liked. I think I was about 6 weeks into quarantine when that little inspiration hit, but that's okay.
Okay, that's okay. You know, I mean, really, I had come to work every day, and so I kept myself kind of busy. And then when we opened the doors back up, that was weird for me. I was like, there's cars out front, and there's people coming in, that my employees are here, and I'm interacting, and I haven't really interacted with anybody else besides like my husband and my 2 kids, and maybe people in it may be interviews, but it's different than people coming in. And so it may not really bother me until about 6 weeks in.
Yeah.
It was weird. All right. Well, thank you so much. And we appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate to see the beach in the background.
Yes.
I love seeing people. I mean, that's the thing that I best is just, even if I don't know people, seeing them walking up and down the street, it's just been so nice of the last, week and a half. So I hope you enjoy it as well.
Yes, it's been great.
Good deal. All right. Well, have a great rest of the weekend, as long as you're going to be. And thank you, everybody, for joining, and those who asked. And we will be, I'll record it tonight, post it probably tomorrow on YouTube, and then I'll post your studio tour this afternoon. And then I think next week's our last week, so I think we're almost out of people who wanted to do the interviews. So I appreciate it a lot, all of y'all, and have a great day. See you later.
Too. Thank you, Kim. Bye.
Okay. Bye.